Since it has been a few days since I provided an update, I wanted to fill you all in on what has been happening. I went through every inch of my house the morning after my last post. It is a small one-storey house with a basement, so it didn't take long to look through. There was nothing else out of the ordinary, except for dirt smudges on the bottom of my bedspread. I shuddered, thinking that someone must have been in my room while I was sleeping the night before, but I am glad that I didn't wake up to see whatever was there. At the suggestion of others, I found my attic access, which was in the ceiling of my closet. I had to get my ladder out of the garage to climb up there. After sliding the wooden cover out of the way, I climbed up and walked carefully along the wood beams, looking around with my flashlight. I didn't find any evidence of someone being up here. As I walked back to the entrance of the attic, I heard my front door closing. I couldn't see much through the square opening, but I heard footsteps coming down the hallway towards my room. This was followed by my bedroom door slamming shut. I crouched down and slid the cover over the opening. I could hear them climbing up the ladder, so I sat down on the cover to hold it in place. Then I felt the cover being pushed. They were able to lift me up a little bit, but luckily I was too heavy. After a few minutes, they stopped, and it got quiet. I was listening for the sound of them stepping down the ladder, but I didn't hear anything. It must have been at least 10 minutes I waited without hearing anything. I quietly climbed off the cover and slid it open, just a little. I saw part of the ladder, but needed to open it more to tell if someone was on there. When I started moving it more, I felt a big push on the cover, almost sending it out of my hands. Before I got it back into place, I caught a glimpse of what was trying to get up here. It was something different than what was at my door the other night. There were clumps of long brown hair on top of its bony head. Its jaw was jutted out to the left, and the bone was broken and jagged beneath its nose. The thing stared up at me with one eye sunk deep inside the socket, and the other dangling out of the socket. I jumped back on the cover, putting all my weight on it. I felt the thing pushing me up again. When it finally stopped, I waited a much longer time before trying to see if it was safe to leave. When I slid it slowly off, I expected a hand to reach out and grab me, but nothing was there. I went down the ladder and closed the attic cover. My phone was sitting on the floor, which wasn't where I had left it. When I picked it up, it felt dusty, and it was covered with smudges, like my monitor. I wiped it on my shirt and then called my parents. I really needed to get out of here for a while. They were glad I called and said they would be happy to have me stay with them for a few days. I grabbed a backpack and threw in some clothes and everything else I would need for a few nights' stay. I had ordered a couple of Wi-Fi cameras after this all started and spent some time getting them set up. One of them I set up on my front porch and the other in front of my computer screen, since those seemed to be the places where most of the weird things were happening. While checking to ensure I had everything, I heard some noises in the basement. I grabbed my keys, wallet and phone and headed for the door. When I went past the basement door, I heard someone coming up the stairs. I ran outside, locked the door behind me and got into my car. After making sure my car was empty, I drove to my parents' house. When I got there, I greeted my parents and then brought my things into my old room. I hadn't spent the night at their house in a long time. They were both vaccinated and hadn't been out for a while, so I didn't have to be afraid of getting sick from them. The first couple of nights there were great. I got caught up on my sleep and felt so much more well rested. I had a couple of notifications from my front porch camera the first few days, but it was just from squirrels or chipmunks running into view of the camera. I took a break from the computer and didn't use my phone that much either during this time. The only phone calls I received were telemarketing or scam calls. Last night, however, things began to change. I got a notification from my front porch camera. I could see someone standing just barely in view of the camera. They stayed still for a while before coming up to the porch. It looked like they were wearing something over their head, but I couldn't tell what it was. I was happy that it wasn't the creepy-eyed skull guy that was there before, although this one also made me uncomfortable, especially once it started talking. Later that night, I received a notification from the camera in front of my computer monitor. The screen was blank for a while before it went to the Fear for Life website. I'm glad I wasn't at my house during these events, but I am a little worried that by staying at my parents' house, they will become involved in this. I think I will at least stay another night here and then try to figure out what to do next. I've included the link to the video in the description of this video in case you'd like to see what happened. It is looking pretty nice outside today, so I'm going to try to enjoy it before it starts getting colder again. Hopefully, since I'm not at my house or near my computer, I won't have any problems when I go for a walk.